Copy 724, right. Center maintain 2000.
Center maintain 2074.
Comment 504 to center maintain 3000.
3000, comment 504.
In this video we're gonna be we'll try to finish everything related to federal aviation regulations. So last time we were talking about the fuel requirements for the VFR flight. So fuel requirements, as we talked about, for the VFR flight for the night time was like we need to be able to get to our first destination, first landing place, right? First leg of the flight plus 45 minutes of the flying time. So what if about the daytime? So it's the same as like you should be able to fly to the first point of the intended landing, but plus 30 minutes of flight time. So it's a little less than the night requirement. Okay, when operating an aircraft under VFR in level cruising altitude at an altitude of more than 3000 feet above the surface, what rules apply concerning specific altitudes flown? This is a very commonly used one. You should definitely be aware of that. So what happens is like from the sea level, mean sea level, up to 3000, I'm sorry, from the surface, not the sea level, from the surface to the 3000 feet, if you are flying that low, you can be at anything, like whether you are going to the north or south. Just look outside and look for the traffic, otherwise you are good. There's no regulation between surface to 3000, but above 3000 what should happen is like between the magnetic course of 0 to almost 180, which is 179 degrees. So if you are flying anywhere between that 0 to 179, basically means that the north. What should happen is like you should fly an odd 1000 foot MSL plus 500 feet. So you can fly 3500, or you can fly 5500, or you can fly 7500. And if you are flying from 180 to almost 0, which is 359 degrees, what you should do is like you should be flying even 1000 foot MSL plus 500. So the examples would be 4500, like basically if you're flying like a south, it should be 4500 or 6500 or 8500, like that. What Okay, so we talked about what is ELT. So ELT stands for the emergency locator transmitter. So it's basically a radio transmitter which is attached to the aircraft, and it transmits at 121.5, and for the military planes 230 243 megahertz, but basically for Cessnas it is 121.5, and if the newer ones have another one which is the frequency is 406 megahertz. So basically it aids in locating downed aircraft. If the aircraft is not in contact with the ADC anymore, it's downed, or for some reason it's gone missing. So basically it helps you locate the aircraft. Okay, is it required to have it? So the answer is yes. No person may operate a US registered civil airplane unless there is attached to the aircraft an automatic type emergency locator transmitter that is an operable operable condition. The only thing, like the exceptions are that if there is an aircraft which is only used within 50 nautical miles radius of the airport, then there's a exception. Then and there's an exception for the aircraft which are engaged in design and testing. Also new aircraft. Also, if the aircraft is used for the agricultural operations. Otherwise, you should definitely have that ELT. Okay, when must the batteries? So we're gonna be talking about the batteries uh, of an emergency uh, locator transmitter. So the batteries used in the ELTs must be replaced, or if they are rechargeable, they should be recharged when a transmitter has been used for more than one cumulative hour. Okay, or with 50% of their useful life. So if you have drained 50% of the battery, it should be replaced or recharged. Okay. What are the regulations concerning the use of supplemental oxygen on board an aircraft? So the regulation for the onboard oxygen goes like this: from the surface, right, to 1200. If you are flying between this one 12,500 to 14,000, the regulation is that for that part of the flight at those altitudes there is more than 30 minutes, the required minimum flight crew must be provided uh, with and use supplemental oxygen. What it means is like, if you are between 1400 to 12,500 for more than 30 minutes, you should be using it uh, for that flight amount of time, for that amount of flight time. If you are gonna go above 14,000 uh, feet MSL, the crew is definitely should be provided with, and they should use the supplemental oxygen. And the last one is, if you are gonna be flying above 15,000 feet, all the passengers, all the occupants should be provided supplemental oxygen. Okay, according to the regulations, where is aerobatic flight of an aircraft not permitted? So you cannot do the aerobatic, and we will be covering aerobatic in a second. Where can't you do the aerobatic flight maneuvers or stuff like that? So any congested area of city, town, or settlement, you can't do that. Uh, if there is even open air assembly of people, like maybe a stadium or stuff like that, you can't do that within the boundaries of the class B, C, class D, class E airspace designed for the airport. You can't do that. If this is a federal airway, within 4 nautical miles of that, you can't do that. Below an altitude of 1500 feet, if you are below 1500 feet, you should definitely not do the aerobatic flying. And when the visibility is less than 3 nautical miles, you should not think about doing the aerobatic flight. Okay, what is this aerobatic flight? So basically, the aerobatic flight means that an intentional maneuver involving an abrupt change in an aircraft attitude, an abnormal attitude, or abnormal acceleration, not necessary for normal flight. So basically, if you the attitude, meaning the pitch of the aircraft, is so steep that it is not really, that attitude is not kept for a normal flight. that means that you are trying to fly the airplane in an aerobatic mode. And the last thing I wanted to cover was about the parachutes. So the requirement for the parachutes is that uh, so you should have a parachute if for some reason you're gonna be doing a bank angle of more than 60 degrees relative to the horizon, or you're gonna be doing nose up or nose down attitude of 30 degrees. So this is for the like the bank angle, and for the attitude, if it is more than 30 degrees relative to the horizon again, you should have a parachute. But if you are flying for the like the flight test, and you are with the CFI, you should there is exception for that. You can do the spins, you can do the maneuvers and stuff like that, and you don't need a parachute for that. Those were the things I wanted to cover. Thanks for watching.